Everybody, so today marks 2 years since the first time we shipped milk. Prior to that, we had been dumping milk for like a good month plus, waiting for all of the inspections and everything else to get done. So when we first were able to start shipping milk, it was really exciting, actually, that everything finally went through. There was issues, the inspector and the milk company and the trucking company. There was a bunch of miscommunications. So it was great when it finally got all done. So I was going to take a second and show you who our original milking herd was. So our original milking herd was Fancy and Betty, also known as Pumpkin. And then we also had, and I'm trying to remember, there was a couple of these that were not milking yet, but they calved within the next couple weeks. So there would have been Sophia and Trigger, and I'm pretty sure Trigger is one of the ones that did not calve right away. She probably calved to the beginning of November sometime. Right, honey? And then we had Swirly and Rose, and so these last four, Rose, Swirly, Trigger, and Sophia. And actually their names were Sophia, Blanche, Rose, and we had one named Dorothy who did not adjust to the change well, and she ended up leaving. She was a super high cell count cow. Like probably one of the highest we've ever had. She was just always stressed out here, did not take the change, and they all came from the same farm that was going out. They were retiring, and we went there and picked them out. So that was Monty, stop playing with the cows. That was our first milking. That was our first group that was milking. So if you take those couple right there, from Rose down to Miss Fancy, that was our first group. Shortly thereafter, a couple other ones freshened in. I know there was also a little Jersey that we had at the time who did not stick around super long, maybe a month. She was not the friendliest little thing. She'd kick with all four legs at the same time. She kicked the milker off. She'd kick people. She'd kick the buckets. And you could hardly get her milked out. Could probably milk every other cow plus more in the amount of time you spent putting the milker on and off of her. Anyways, we did not end up keeping her just because someone was going to get seriously injured eventually with, or she would get injured with the way she acted. So she had left not long after that. But so this was our first group. When we first decided we were going to start milking, we were met with a lot of people that said, there's no way for it to be done. Don't even try. Is that going to work? Just give up now. And I will admit, it is not for the faint of heart. It's not for the weak. You got to be in it for the long haul. You got to flow with the ups and downs. You have to be willing to hit rock bottom and pick yourself back up many times a year. Sometimes it's a couple times a week, I think. Maybe not quite that excessive, but it's not your super typical job by any means. So it can be rough. Farming can be super rough. It's not a get rich fast scheme at all. Our first milk check, which I'm not even sure we actually cashed. We may have actually just saved it and we were joking around we're going to frame it sometime when the farm has an office, was $10. Yep, a whole whopping $10. And we had, just prior to that, we had literally invested all of our life savings. We had borrowed money. We had done everything to get this up and going. And we then got a check for $10. I mean, I had basically begged people to pick up our milk. Well, didn't exactly beg them, but pretty darn close. And they gave me the hard reality of, okay, we'll pick it up. This is what it costs for us to pick up your milk. Farming is, small farms are going down. Like, this isn't a super smart thing to start doing right now, basically. But we did it anyways. I know I'm not the smartest. Obviously, neither is my husband, because here we are. And 2 years in, still doing it. My joke was always, though, that if we were not going to make it in 2 years, that everybody was going to leave. And they are still here. So, the plan is to keep all my babies. So yeah, I mean, if you are thinking about getting into farming, I would definitely say go for it. But you need to be prepared, because farming's not like, oh, this is gonna be great, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna milk these cows, they're gonna be sweethearts all the time. It's gonna be sweethearts. You know, I'm gonna then get this check in the mail and it's gonna be great. The feed is gonna be affordable. It's always gonna be exactly what they say it's gonna be. Equipment never breaks. Equipment never breaks, ever. Whether it's new or used, you know, it's super reliable. Nothing ever happens. Cows never get sick. People never get sick. Water lines never break. It never gets 30 below and the barn doesn't freeze completely. So it doesn't rain too much. It doesn't never rain. There's a lot of uncontrollable aspects in farming that go into this lifestyle. And while it is probably what I feel one of the greatest lifestyles, I mean, we love it. We love raising our kids here. Yes, I still work off the farm, which I know some people have asked why. You just gotta think basic reasons. Just stability. Plus, it does not hurt for me to get out of the house, to be perfectly honest, because of me, my husband, and the kids were all home all day, every day. Probably would not be the healthiest relationship for any of us. So yes, I do work out of the house, or off the farm, I should say. But so far, so good. We make it work. Is your head swirly? No. Swirly is definitely a lover, not a fighter. But anyways, I just kind of wanted to take a minute and give you guys a little bit of the transparency in what goes into starting a farm. Like I said, there were so so many people that told us you're not going to do it. You can't make it. You're not going to make it. Basically, you're crazy, and we probably are. But we also feel that, like I said, if it's not going to work, we will end it. Because as much as I love these girls, we cannot afford to keep them as pets. They have to pull their weight, and they do pretty good at that most days. Maybe they don't pull it by much more than just their weight, but do we do the extra work to make that work? Yeah, we do. We do some unconventional things. We do the extra manual labor. But we do our best to make it work. And this wildebeest is right here. She's always been a little bit of a piggy, but she's doing awesome since the calf. I was always told that Mohegan Shorthorn crosses, or Shorthorns in general, their udder came in best once they're in their third lactation. She's in her second, and she has a pretty awesome udder. Not gonna lie, I was surprised, pleasantly surprised. And just let me flip the camera around real quick. Okay, so when we first got Wildebeest, you could not touch her head. You couldn't touch basically anywhere on her. Oh, look at this baby. So we have had her, oh my gosh, let me think on this one. So we got her a couple months before she had her first calf. And then we've had her since. So we've probably had her maybe 14, it's got to be longer than that. Probably a year and a half, maybe. Maybe not that long. Monty, leave her alone. But I do swear she's probably one of the softest cows you will ever meet. Right, Miss Willie? Yes. Oh, you want more head scratches? Does that feel good? Yeah, this would have never happened. Took a long time. Lots of love and care to build trust with an animal of this size. And she was not mistreated before. Just so you guys don't think that. She wasn't. She was just fine. But the farm she came from, there's only one gentleman that does all of it. So she had only ever seen one person. So men were so-so. Still didn't like them. Kids, heck no. Me as a woman, probably the scariest thing she ever saw. So, you know, it takes some work. But, so I know in the last video I talked about some that were like 400 to 500 days in milk, unfortunately. So 79 here is one of them. But she's doing good. I don't know how she's still milking as much as she actually does, but she's doing it, so I'm proud of her. But anyways, so like I said, I just wanted to give a little bit of the transparency as to what it takes to start a farm. It would definitely be up to, if anybody ever has questions or anything, definitely would be up to for talking to people. Big Red is not tied up again. Cow. She probably broke it again. It's just heard. Anyways, if anybody ever has questions, definitely feel free to reach out. Always here to talk. Oh, some of the resources we used when we were to the point that we decided, yes, this is what we're going to do. So we started looking into it even more. So we were talking to some farmers in the area, got to know a few of them to see kind of, okay, what's it like, what's the land situation, how hard is it to rent land around here, stuff like that. Kind of like get the feel for things, because we had not lived here super long. We've only lived here about 4 years. So, definitely needed to get, kind of figured some of that out. Figured out what kind of milk companies were coming up here, who did trucking, all of that kind of stuff. And then we also kind of kept an eye on the markets as far as milk, cattle prices, just kind of some of that basic stuff that I'm sure a lot of you already are doing. And then we also started talking to, like I said, farmers, some around here, some not around here. Auntie, leave her alone. Our not so brave cattle dog here has actually pretty much been trained to not bark at them or try and chase them. I'm pretty sure if a cow were to come after me, he may run the other way. But we didn't want him chasing them all the time. My husband's not a fan of that. Although it would sure be helpful sometimes if we had help chasing the cows when they need be. But anyways, so at the time I was driving 40 minutes each way to work, and I started listening to a couple different podcasts just on some different stuff, and sometimes I still turn them on. This week I actually listened to a couple different podcasts because I was in the car more than normal. One of my favorites is Cowside Conversations. It's from the Dairy Center of Excellence in Pennsylvania or something like that. Definitely worth looking up, though. The one I listened to this week was actually a gentleman talking about a smaller farm. Super interesting. And I don't know, I just thought it was fun. Something different. Keeps your mind engaged. I'm always up for learning new trends, learning what is going on, whether we follow along or not. It's good to keep your mind in the industry. The other thing to do would be to, definitely network with people around you. Figure out kind of where to go, get the financial aspect figured out as much as possible. I feel as though it's going to be harder and harder to get money to farm. So start saving that money up. Every penny counts. Just going to need a lot of them. So other than that, I don't think I have a whole lot, but just wanted to give you guys the happy 2-year to us actually shipping milk, because it was so exciting to see that truck back in. I mean, we were beyond thrilled. Like I said, it's not for the faint of heart, it's not for the weak, but there's so much reward in doing this job. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, like, comment, share these videos if you know someone who might enjoy them, And we will talk to you guys next time.